This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
He was a giant, and he was a cowboy. Now these two former rivals have joined forces to bring you the most insightful, perceptive, and controversial sports talk podcast in America. Former Dallas Cowboys defensive end Jim Jeffcoat locks horns with former New York Giants wide receiver Byron Williams. And now, here's Byron Williams and Jim Jeffcoat.
And now for the host of JMB Talking Shop, Jim and Byron. And let me bring you guys up.
Good evening. Good evening. Glad to have you here. Good evening. Good evening.
How you doing, Jim? What's going on?
Hey, Byron, how are you doing today?
Man, looking good. I'm excited about going into week 3 because on my side of town, we need to get a win.
On my side of town, we won. And that kicker kicked a 56-yarder. They made some mistakes, though, and we'll talk about that a little later. But first, let's talk about some NFL news. A lot of things going on. First, we can talk about Tua getting hurt from Miami. The quarterback's out this week, and Jacoby Brissett, who is an experienced quarterback, comes in for him. So how do you think they're going to react? They play a tough Las Vegas team.
Yeah, they definitely got to get their quarterback situation tight and ready to go because Briscoe is a pretty good quarterback that played up with the Colts previous years. But, you know, you got to have that practice time, the timing of the offense and everything else. So it's going to be a key week. And right now, Las Vegas, the Raiders are playing excellent football, and they got a lot of momentum going.
Yeah, they are. And he's got a tough task ahead of him. But Miami has some talent in their wide receiver core, obviously. They do play tough defense. I think that is the biggest improvement for Las Vegas is their defense. We know Rod Marinelli, who used to be formerly with the Cowboys, is there. And they have the defensive coordinator used to be with the San Diego Chargers, Gus Bradley, and they do an excellent job of preparing those players. And if you notice, the one thing that you notice about Las Vegas, how hard they're playing, and that's the battle. If you can get them to play hard, you got a chance to make plays. And Las Vegas is making plays now. Miami's got a tough task ahead of them. They're going to have to go to Vegas, and they're going to have to play a tough team. So it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you think about when you lose your quarterback in the, you know, first series or second series of a play, you know, he the one who's been putting in all that time that week for getting game time preparation, and then have to come in with backup quarterback. That kind of threw everything off as well. But Buffalo, you know, they back to playing great football too. So you know it wasn't gonna take them long to get back on the right page of playing great football.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting. Buffalo plays Washington this week, and Buffalo, and nobody circles the wagons like the Bills, because I've been there, I played there, and it is a special place. It's only one way in and one way out. But it's going to be interesting because Washington needs a win. They definitely need a win. But it's going to be interesting because Buffalo, like you said, they got back on track last week. Can Josh Allen keep that up? And can they do – because they're going to play a talented defense in Washington, and we'll see how they react. The last time when they played Pittsburgh, who is a talented defense. Can they stop him? Can Washington's defense stop Josh Allen? I'm not sure, but they're going to have to.
Not in Buffalo. If they were playing at home, but I just think Washington's secondary is still kind of suspect. The strongest part of the Washington defense is the defensive line. But Josh Allen going to have another good game. He's going to be hard to stop regardless.
But I noticed that looking at it, Buffalo ran the ball efficiently, which they didn't do the first game. Can they do this against a tough Washington defense? If they can do that, they'll be successful with it. They'll be a team that to be reckoned with, but they got to be able to run the ball. They can't be one-dimensional, especially in a place like Buffalo. When the weather changes, you got to be able to run the ball. So those things are going to be important for them.
And I want to say this too. Washington played their first 2 games at home, so this is a road game for them. So they really gonna get tested. Yeah, that
is true. That is true. Not a very far flight, but you're right. It is a road game. Another game that was interesting was the Monday night game with the Ravens and the KC. I mean, I've talked about it. I didn't think that the Ravens had that opportunity because Lamar Jackson, they're asking him to do a lot. And he stood up to it, and he really did a good job against Mahomes. But the one thing that you got to give Jackson credit for, and nobody does, they talk about his running ability, which is exceptional. But he hits those receivers on routes. And you can talk a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. You know, he's a MVP. He's a leader on that team. He got that never die attitude, and he rallied the troops. I mean, he's always, you know, embracing those running backs and making sure they on the same page. He telling this player, hey, get over here and get over there. Got like what Peyton Manning used to do. So he really have matured and have came, and he changing the game. I mean, defense don't know what to do with him. So I mean, next thing you know, you think he getting you 10 yards, he off to 25 yards. So he's exciting. He bringing some excitement to the game on the offensive side. But the one thing that about Baltimore now, they are always in the game, regardless of what the score is.
No question, because they're a physically tough team, and they play physically tough football. And they've always been like that. Baltimore is going to try to beat you up. They're kind of like those schoolyard bullies. They're going to try to beat you up when nobody's looking, and that's just the way they play. So that's no question about it. Here's an interesting.
They got into it a little bit the first game when they went to Kansas City. You know, one of the coaches got fined about being involved in that hit on the sideline. But they definitely some bullies. Yeah,
no question about that. They are. Here's one that gets you a little bit. Is I don't know. It was a little bit off the big games, but the Jets against New England. And now Zach Wilson found out what it's like to play in the NFL against a quality, obviously, defense in New England. And he struggled a little bit. He threw 4 interceptions, and he tried probably to do a little harder. And I just don't think they have enough offensive talent. And you could talk a little bit more about this than I could, but offensive talent for that kid to be effective. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, but you're going to have to surround him with people to help him, just like we say with the majority of quarterbacks. There are very few quarterbacks that can take it and win games. What do you think about what happened to him against New England?
Absolutely. You know, Belichick had a great defensive scheme plan. He see now what the NFL is all about. He got firsthand experience, and not to score hardly no points for, I think it was 30-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
He really got a chance to see what the NFL is all about, because each week it's a different scheme. Each week you got these the pass rush, and you got safeties coming at you. So for his time, and he saw it firsthand. And New England did control that game from start to finish. And Zach, he'll get better. But, going into week 2, that's one thing. But going into week 14 to 15, he will be able to see the whole dynamic of what everybody's doing. And each defense and each team, this kind of play each other a little bit different, but each week is a different game plan for everybody.
No question, no question. I think you're exactly right on it. He'll get better as the season progresses, but right now he just doesn't have the supporting cast to help him at this point. They might be a little bit away, especially it's going to be interesting what they draft to help them, because they need defensive help, obviously. We know that. And then they need some offensive help to help this kid get to his full potential. So there were a lot of interest in Cleveland. Cleveland loses Landry for 3 to 4 weeks with an ankle injury, I think it was. And, and then they say Odell Beckham might be back. They're guaranteeing he'll be back this week. So that's interesting. Cleveland is a team that has to continue to improve for them to have a chance. I don't think they're still – some people think they're a Super Bowl contender. I think they're a playoff. They're going to make it to the playoffs. But to say they're in the Super Bowl is going to be a little bit more difficult right now. They play Chicago this week. That should be a game they can win. But it's still in a situation that Chicago – and we're talking about this game because Justin Fields will get his first start. Right. So he's just similar. I'm not saying he is Lamar Jackson, but he's a mobile quarterback. He can do something. You can change your game plan to get him moving, and he understands that. But then you have the Cleveland Browns with that running game, that two-headed running game. They're tough. Right. They have some offensive firepower. And the Chicago went against a team like that the first game in the Rams, and it didn't look very good. So I'm kind of curious to see defensively how they defend the Browns' running attack and the receiving core.
Right. With Myles Garrett and that defensive line, which is a strong front four that they have in Cleveland, I think they put some pressure on Justin Fields, make him throw the ball early, disrupt his time and, trying to release the ball. I think that's going to be good. But, Cleveland's hard to beat when they play at home. You got the dog pound. You got that environment up there. And I just think, too, just to know that Cleveland got the two-headed running backs that's strong, and they can score some points. And so, it's going to be hard to go up there and beat Cleveland at home this week. And I think they're looking better. And, of course, if Jarvis Landry ain't there, they're going to have to use that tight end and come up with some combination routes. And if Odell Beckham is ready, he's going to try to get 150 yards. I tell you that now. So it's gonna be exciting just to see, what kind of plan of action, game plan they put together.
I was looking at an article, and you'll love this. His dad is from Texarkana, right? Beckham's dad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from Texarkana.
But one that Justin Fields was one of my key quarterbacks. I thought, he whatever team he's gonna go to, he's gonna eventually be he's going to be a great player in the NFL, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, he is going to be a good player. I don't know if he's Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick. He might be, and he's wasn't a bad McNabb or maybe a Randall Cunningham. He doesn't have he has some of McNabb's talents, but his movements are a lot except for the long release, like Randall Cunningham. So that's what I look at with Justin Fields. I see those things. It's always difficult to start that first game. And I know this is not the first game of the season, but this is the first game that Fields will start. So it's going to be a little different. And, just like you said, Cleveland's going to be licking their chops with the people they have on defense, especially on the front. They're going to be licking their chops. There's a lot.
Yeah, and I was gonna say with Myles Garrett on that backside, he's gonna have to be very alert and have that great pocket presence, because that right there will get you each and every time if you get hit and Myles go after the ball. So you got to be ball security and a lot of things and not create any turnovers. So, the one thing you can always look back at some of these young quarterbacks. Just make sure you don't make stupid mistakes, make good pocket present decisions and everything like that. And if that happened, and Chicago got a pretty good little defense now, so we got to stay reminded that their defense is pretty good as well.
Yeah, when I was playing a rookie quarterback, I would always try to get him off his spot and find a spot if I've seen him play before, or I would try to always disrupt him in any way. So because rookies don't know the speed of the game, they got to even in preseason, the speed of the game, as you know, is not like the regular season. And once
I was going to ask you, Jim. I was going to ask you, when you're rushing and you don't quite get to the quarterback, do you say something like, "I'm gonna get you next time, rookie," or something like that?
Tell him, Rook, hey, this is not college football. This is the real deal. I'm coming. Hey, my baby's got to eat. And you
That's what a lot of people don't know, but it's a lot of conversation out there on that football field.
Yes, there is. Yes, it is. How can you help the rookie quarterbacks?
Well, you got to run good, precise routes. You got to say, come back and keep communication going on the sideline. Say, I think I can run this particular route. I can run a 6. I can run a 4. I can run an in cut. Just make sure that you stay on point with the timing, and then the combination routes. Just assure constant communication with them on the sideline. Just say, I can beat this guy. He's cheating on this route, and so just to stay on the same page with the quarterback is a constant good thing to do. Communication.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This, like I said, there's things going on. This is good that football's back. We get the opportunity to talk about it and things of that nature. There's a lot of shocking things. Just like this week, Seattle and Minnesota plays. Minnesota's been struggling. I thought they were going to win the game against Arizona, and they lose 34-33. Field goal kicker misses the field goal, and they thought it was a lot for him to make it. Minnesota is struggling, and right now in Seattle against Tennessee, they played well the first week, but now they go against Tennessee with Derrick Henry, who is really a offensive or a defensive lineman that can run, because he's going to run over people, and he's big, he's strong, he's powerful, and he only had, I think, 30 yards the first half, and then he comes back and runs for, 170 yards that second?
Yeah, close to 180 yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. He went off, and he got them rolling, and they had a lot of momentum against the Seahawks. And what an awesome player! He's on point to try to get that 2,000 yards, and nobody ever done that in 3 consecutive years. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and the thing about Tennessee, as long as you don't depend on Tannehill to win the game for you, then you got a chance to win. And that's the same thing. And you have to give Henry the ball. You have to give him the ball. Now, on the other hand, Minnesota is interesting. Minnesota has a top 10 running back, but now he's a little banged up. They're getting some defensive players back. But I've never been a big Kirk Cousins guy. I think Kirk Cousins struggles when the pressure's on him. I mean, he's got the ability, but when it comes to making plays when the lights are on, I think he kind of shies away from them lights. And he has receivers. He has receivers.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson and and Cooks, the running back. So he has some good talent around him. So they can equip him to prepare himself to do some things.
Hey guys, backstage right now, we have former Giants running back Gorge Adams. You ready to bring him on?
Yeah, let's. We got Gorge Adams coming up. George lives here in Texas.
And since we were talking about Seattle, George, his baby boy, his only son, is Jamar Adams. So this is gonna be really good.
Yeah, man, let me tell you that game was outstanding. And I heard you guys was talking about Derrick Henry. Hey, he's a grown man. He's a grown man. As he got going, he got going. That was one of the guys that you know, if I played defense, I wouldn't want to hit him all game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
hey, George, George was the 1985 first-round draft choice for the Giants, the 19th pick out of Kentucky, the great running back. And he and I was good teammates and roommates, and we go way back. I used to call George the World Bowl. Look how big his head is. So he got that big old head.
Yeah, watch it now.
They used to, hey, Jim, they used to say, hey, Byron, give me change for a quarter. He said, your head is a nickel, your ears is a dime. So we used to have a lot of little fun jokes and things. So it was good.
Man, let me tell you, that's what you know, playing in the NFL is all about. Is, you know, you get teammates and you remember things from way back as you get older, and it's just something that you can look back on, man, and just enjoy. Especially like with B-Dub talking about, he called me Chrome Dome, you know, that because he got that little peanut head. So I don't know where we found that football helmet for him to fit. You know, we had to go get a Pop Warner. We had to go get a Pop Warner football helmet for his head.
Yeah.
That's one thing you got to be careful about, Byron, is when you talk it, you got to take it too.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, one of the things too, you know, George came in as a rookie, and you know, him and Parcells, they became real acquainted with each other. So, what is one of the fun moments with Bill Parcells, George, that you can recall?
Man, I tell you, that's probably one of the best coaches that I've been around. From Little League all the way up. Coach Parcells was like a father to me. You know, he challenged me every day. To be honest with you, Byron, I speak with him probably once a month. I still speak with him. And he talked to me about my son, you know, things that I should do and things that I need to tell him that he needs to do. I mean, that's just the coach that everybody, if they had the opportunity to have a coach like that, man, hey, that's the one. That's the one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I remember being over at Hebron High School, sitting in the stands with you, watching Jamal practice when I was coaching at the University of Colorado.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? And I went to every practice. And that's just the way it is. Yeah. Myself and my wife, we was at every game that he played from high school to now. Now, last year, it killed me with the pandemic because me and my wife was not able to go to his games. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a football guy. Now my wife is a football woman because she knows more about football than the other, you know, than everybody now, man, because she's been going to every game with me. And, you know, Byron, when I'm at the game, she gets mad at me because I don't say nothing to her because right. I'm focused. Right. I'm focused on the game, and she be asking me questions, and I just throw something out. Sometimes I don't even hear what she's saying.
Yeah. And I want to let everybody know, George, he started coaching Jamal, his son, early on. They was the GA Giants in Carrollton, and George used to always invite me to the banquets and stuff. And I go over there and do motivational speaking, and Jamal used to say, Daddy, I'm gonna be a higher draft choice than you. And they had this bet from day one, so it was just an unbelievable the football knowledge and the football savvy that they had from day one. It was always constant. You know, him saying, Dad, I'm gonna do this. Dad, I'm gonna do that. And he did it. And he lived out his dream. That's amazing to see a young kid do everything he said he was gonna do. And he stayed focused on those dreams.
Well, let me talk about that. That banquet, I'm telling you, man, I have to give that banquet to my wife. I came up with the idea and she ran with it. And I'm telling you, Byron, most of these kids, and I'm gonna say most of them, they would probably never seen something like that. And you know what I'm talking about because one time you was one of my guest speakers And you seen we had ice sculpture, you had cloths on the tables, you had nice trophies. I mean, my wife went all out, man, and that's something that, you know, we always look back on. We gave each kid like different gifts. Like one year we gave them Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
And the next year we came back and we had someone to come in and take some pictures and take the shots, and we blew them up and had them in frames. And then the next year we came back, we gave them Letterman jackets. I mean, a lot of these kids would not be able to play college football or high school football, but they can look back when we was with the GA Giants and say, hey, I enjoyed that and I lived that. So I'm telling you, man, a lot of these kids still today, Byron, I see these guys, man, and they still call me coach, and they still come up to me. They come up to me and say, you saved my life. It was a lot of kids that we saved their life, because if they wasn't playing football, they'd be out doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
George,
And you know how it is.
George,
You know
what was your best experience in football, pro football?
Who was my best what again? Say that again?
I said, what was your best experience in pro football and having the opportunity to play?
Well, my best experience in pro football was being able to get to that point to play professional football. You know, but just being around a guy like Lawrence Teller, being around a guy like, you know, Pepper Johnson, you know, Carl Banks, them guys. And the reason why I'm naming just defensive guys, because I had to go against them every day.
Yeah, that's,
you know. So, you know, I would say being around Byron Williams, you know, but he was on my side, so I wasn't worried about him. I mean, that was the experience that I had, man, just being around my guys and being able to see these guys as professional people and knowing what made me where I'm at today, being professional. And that's what I did for my son. I helped him be where he is today. But I want to go back on that. Can I go back on that? I want to go back on about my son. Man, let me tell you something. And you was absolutely right, Byron. When he said he was going to be better than me, he was better than me. And that's what I wanted. I always wanted him to be better than me. I didn't want him to be as good as me. I want him to be better than me. And I'm telling you, he done took it to another level. And I always told him, I said, man, look, you doing things like Lawrence Teller used to do. I mean, people jumps out of the car just to go get his autographs and stuff like that, man. And you know what? Here's what I like about him, and that's what I taught him. I said, man, look, these kids the one make you. These people the one buy your jerseys. So anytime you have the opportunity, you take your time out and you sign these guys' autograph.
Yeah.
And they love it. I want to say one more thing. When he was with the Jets and I was with him, we had a scrimmage game. The Jets had a scrimmage game at the stadium, Byron. He was the last guy to leave the stadium. Yeah. They was cutting the lights out. Yeah. And he was still signing people's autographs. Yeah. Right then, I knew that what kind of kid he is, man. Well, and he listened to me. He listened to myself, and he listened to his mama. Yeah. And that's just the way it is, man.
And you know, when you look back on everything, you and Michelle did an awesome job with him. And he is focused, and he never forget the things that you guys taught him from day one. That's what I love about your mom.
Yeah, here I got a question for you, George. I had this issue. My son played for the Washington football team,
right?
And I obviously played for Dallas. Now your son plays for Seattle. What do you do when he plays the Giants?
Well, let me tell you, I can go. I got one for you. I can go back. He played with the Jets first, and they played the Giants, and I was there. But guess what? I was pulling for the Jets Hey, blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. I was pulling for the Jets, but now, hey, every team, if he don't play against the Giants, I'm pulling for the Giants. That's just the way it is, man. Giant, hey, I bleed blue blood, man. But now, hey, I be wearing Seattle shirts. I be wearing everything, man. Seattle. And he almost came to the Cowboys. If he came to the Cowboys, I'd be having a star in my head or something.
And plus, he would have been back home too. So you guys live here in the Dallas area.
Yeah, he would have been back home, man. And I'm gonna tell you, they would have. I mean, the fans would have loved that boy. I mean, everywhere he go, I had let me see, it was Chris Carson, the running back of Seattle.
Right.
Man, he came up to me the other week, and he said, "George, let me tell you something, man. I don't know what you gave your son, but if I have a kid, I want him to be just like your son because he loves football. He loves the game of football. He said, I love being around him in practice because he said, some days I go to practice, I don't want to practice. You know how that is, Jeffcoat. I don't want to practice. You know how it is, man. I don't want to practice. But he said, when he walks on that field, he makes everybody go.
Yeah.
He said, man, that's a once in a lifetime guy, man.
Yeah.
Y'all know that.
Yeah.
You don't just find them guys like that all the time.
Right.
That is true. That is true.
That's once in a lifetime. I mean, yeah, you can try to teach a kid to do that, but hey, they gotta have it in that heart, man. They gotta want it.
No question.
But that's what football is. And Byron knows the organization that I had. I remember we played at the Cowboy Stadium, and Byron was there.
Yeah.
And he see how these guys, they was disciplined, and I wouldn't want no less, but I saved a lot of kids' lives, man. But I didn't do this just for me. I did it for them.
Right.
It was something that, that I wanted to do. And it's something that I did.
And I want to say this: this is a tripling effect. Now when he left high school, went to LSU, that happened at LSU. When he went to the Jets, that happened with the Jets, and now it's happening with Seattle. He's just that type of person. He's a leader. I mean, you don't have to say he's a leader. You know he's a leader because of what he does and what he does. Not only that, he show you on the field, and not only that, off the field. So that's the great thing. So like I said, Michelle and you did an awesome job with raising this kid. I mean, just an awesome job. Man, we appreciate that. Hey, Jeffcoat, let me ask you a question, man. You tell me how many quarterbacks say, check, watch 33, a safety. Now, you tell me how many guys do that. Now, I got another one for you. I got another one for you. You tell me how many safeties get blocked by the guard and the linebacker every play. I mean, the guard and the running back. I'm sorry. You tell me how many linebacker. You think about Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson. No, see, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's why I'm saying I always mention them because they always rung my bell.
Yeah. But the thing is, too, you got to realize is that Ken Norton Jr. and Pete Carroll have really utilized him in the proper way. Yes. Because they know he can rush the quarterback and he can do various things. And they're using his talents to help them. And that's the thing. And they're going to have to use him this week. Let me tell you, you're absolutely right. Because Dalvin Cook, man, hey, I know that grown man that we just played last week, the grown man is a grown man, but Dalvin Cook is just as good now. Exactly. I think he's more elusive than, where he is. The grown man will just run over you. Dalvin Cook could just flat out make you miss and go get it. So hopefully
And you know, I always talk to my son. I always talk to him like Thursday. And I asked him how they gonna play him. And you know, he'll let me know, you know, how they gonna play him and what they're gonna have him doing, you know, because that's just something that me and him be talking about. And, you know, we talked about different little things throughout the year, and make sure that he's doing the right thing, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. When you got a young man that's following your footsteps, you got to make sure he's doing the right thing.
No, Jeffcoat, he don't follow my footsteps. I'm following his footsteps now. Hey, but I got one thing on him though. I still got a Super Bowl ring. I still got a Super. He don't have that yet.
There you go.
And like Byron was saying about that bet we had, man, that was, you know, I told him, I said, dog, I said, hey, I said, if you go higher than me, I was the 19th pick in the first round. I said, if you go higher than me, I give you $100,000. And guess what? I gave him $5. Hey, we was at the press conference. When he got drafted by the Jets.
Yeah.
You know, 6 overall. And everybody was like, you gonna give him that money? I said, yeah, I got it in my hand. They said, what? And I got up and I handed him $5. I said, don't say nothing else.
That's good.
That's it.
6 overall
He should have gave you the money.
That's what I was getting ready to say. The 6 overall pick should have gave me $100,000.
But he always told you that he would go be a higher pick than you. He did. Told you that.
He did. He told me that. He told me, he said, Pops, I'm gonna be higher than you. I said, boy, you ain't. And you know, I challenged him from high school, going into college, going into the pros. I challenged. I said, you ain't did nothing yet. You know, you ain't did nothing yet. And then he just kept doing it. And then I was like, damn, we sitting in the green room, and the 6th pick, the New York Jets selects Jamar. I said, oh, damn.
Oh.
I was happy on this end, and I was like, oh, you know, he beat me. Because, you know,
yeah,
me and him challenge each other in everything. If we playing Xbox, you know, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, I'm trying to beat him, and he's trying to beat me.
Yeah,
it's always a good feeling when your kids have had success and meet the challenges of having the opportunity to play at that high of a level.
And you know that, Jeffcoat, and I'm telling you, man, sitting up in that stands, brother, and you see your son on that field, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you something. This past weekend, man, they called the defense, you know, to run out. And he was next to last. Bobby Wagner was last, and he was next to last. And, man, let me tell you something, man. I had a tear run down my face, man.
I can understand that.
That feeling that I had, man, that feeling that I had to see my baby son, get that opportunity to run out. Because, you know, when we was playing, you know, Little League, he always wanted us to buy one of them things so they can run out. So he got that opportunity, man. I'm telling you, man, my eyes was tearing up, bro.
I know it was. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Brother. It is. But you know, hey, here's another great feeling. He just signed that $70 million contract.
That is unbelievable. We never dreamed that, George.
Huh?
I said, we never dreamed that.
No, and that's what I told him. I said, dog, man, the highest I made was $560,000, man. And I made $1.5 million overall. I said, man, I was a first-round pick. Now look at the money they make, Byron.
Yeah.
Jeffcoat. Yeah. Look at the money they make. I mean,
it's a lot different.
Hey, look here.
It's a lot different.
You know, back in our day, a safety make how much? They don't
maybe
make $70 million.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Sure. I said, man, you done changed the NFL, bro.
Right.
You changed it.
Question.
You know?
No question.
But it's different. It's a lot different. The game is different. I mean, he's more aggressive guy, but he knows how to hit him, though. He knows not to hit him in the head. He knows to lower his target to their stomach or in their chest.
Right.
But I'm telling you this. But when he he do hit somebody good, they throw the flag, but they pick it up because they look at it and see that he didn't hit with his head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because B-Dub, his head ain't as big as mine, so he can get it out of the way.
But what I like about him too, he calls a lot of fumbles and stuff too, though. He know how to go after that ball.
Yeah, he do. He's that type of player, man. And I hate to keep bragging on him, but I'm not bragging on him. I'm just telling you, this is what he do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes plays. He's a disruptor.
Yeah, you're right. And I just read that the coach for Minnesota, he said you have to know what 33 is, or he will mess a game up.
Yeah.
So I hope they let him go ahead and mess this game up because we need this game. Hey, if Seattle go and lose this game, man, oh my God, everybody gonna be talking about us.
Yeah.
Yeah. No question.
Because they still rank number 10 right now.
Yeah.
In the poll. And they shouldn't have. Hey, the thing is about it though, they shouldn't have lost that Tennessee game. Tennessee, we was up by 17 points, man.
I know.
And I'm telling you, when they decided, and that was good coaching on their side, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's because when they played the Cardinals, they was trying to throw the ball.
Right.
And they was getting sacked. But they bread and butter is running that ball with Henry. So they figured it out and said, we're gonna run the ball. And that's what they did. They ran it down our throat, bro.
Yep.
Yeah. No question.
We were playing a lot of cover 2. So what you gonna do when you play cover 2? Run the ball.
The ball.
Because they was trying to make sure that Julio and Brown didn't catch the ball.
Right.
I would have had to take my chances, man.
Yeah.
I would have to take my chances. But you know how that goes.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And hey, we're gonna see what kind of team we have if they bounce back. But I'll be there. I'll be in Minnesota. I go to every game, bro.
Yeah, well, it's good. Hey, but
I got a kid over there in Florida that I mentor named Dante Murphy. Say, he want me to tell you hello, George. And he's like a little receiver over there in Miami.
Oh, okay.
And, I got some of my people on checking me and Jim out on this YouTube podcast deal.
Well, you tell him I said hello, man, and keep doing his thing. Everything will work out for him.
Hey, George, we appreciate you coming on, and we'll have you back. We love to have you back.
Hey, this was fun, man. I love to be back, brother.
Yeah. We got some, we talk about a lot of old memories. We all played in the same era. So
right.
Yeah. But we appreciate you coming by.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you, George.
All right, Byron. That was good. That was really good. I mean, Jamal, what can you say about it? I mean, Jamal Adams is one of the best safeties in the NFL. And you really could say, 2 of them, him and Matthews, might be fighting for who's the best every week. Those 2 are the best. So
and it's really exciting to see, see him grow up from day one. I've just been seeing him as a little boy, and to see what he have accomplished, out of high school, and going from Texas. Going from Hebron's High School in Carrollton, and then going to LSU, and then getting drafted by the Jets. It's just been really, really good, and to see his passion, and I keep saying Michelle and George just did an awesome job raising him, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And when I used to go to those banquets. And it was like a first class. Everybody was dressed up in ties and things. So, it was like an NFL banquet, And so he gave those kids the experience of like they were playing in the National Football League.
Wow, that's great. Hey, real quick, we got a little bit of time. I wanted to give you some time to talk about New York Giants and what happened in Washington and with Washington, actually.
Man, we had some stupid mistakes. A touchdown was dropped. Touchdown was called back. Jumping off sides on the field goal at the very end of the game. just things like that. When you make mistakes like that, you cannot win games. There's a, Paul says used to always talk about there's five plays in the game, and we don't know when it's gonna happen, but it really could affect the outcome of the football game. And so those games, when you look back on them, it's just little mistakes. And especially when you're on the road, you're at someone else's stadium, you just can't make mistakes in a football game.
Let me ask you this question, a couple of questions. Do you think Barkley's ever going to get back to the level he was before his injury?
I think so, too. I think he's running cautious right now. I think he's going to be a level of confidence. And I think once he just feel like it's 100% back, and I think it is, it's just a matter of time. It's just like turning on that light switch. You don't know when it's going to happen, but it got to happen soon. It got to happen sooner or later. And then if you don't feel 100%, then they need to get the number 2 running back in there as well, because you got to have it. You got to have a great game plan now each and every week in order to win these games. Yeah,
and my next question is: do you think Galloway was he yelling at Daniel Jones, or was he truly yelling at Jason Garrett? And would you argue with Phil Simms?
I wouldn't argue with Phil Simms. I first of all, when you're a player on the team, you got to make sure you're not making no mistakes. I think too, a receiver and a quarterback, you have to pull yourself to the side and talk about, this is what I can do. This is how I can beat this defensive back, and just have it. Don't have it to where cameras are on you and you making it all about you. And it's a team game, and when you get that. That's when something like that happens. You go out there and you drop a play, or you miss an assignment, or you miss a block, and then the quarterback gets sacked. So it's a team game. You got to keep it in a team concept, and that's where the coaches come in. That's where your offensive leader got to come in. And Daniel Jones, you just need to take charge and just say, "Hey, I will get you the ball the second time." And timing was off. A lot of things happened on that field because everything happened 100 miles an hour, right?
That's true.
You have to, you'll eat your word. You go say, you should have threw me the ball. And when that happened and we throw you the ball, and then if a receiver dropped the ball, then what happened? Eggs is on your face. So I just think, the game of football is all about what? Consistency and making sure you got to play error-free. And it's a team sport. Joe Judge said this, one player didn't lose this game for us. There was multiple things that happened during the course of the game that lost that game for us, and that's how you got to look at it.
No question. Now they are 0-2, but they do play the Atlanta Falcons this week, and that's not a game.
Going in. I think they're going in three game favorite. They're playing at home, and I just think when you're playing football, you got to have a short-term memory. You can't go back and say, this is what happened last week, this is what happened the week before. You got to go the task at hand, take it one game at a time, one play at a time, one quarter at a time. And if you do that, you tend to correct some of the problems and get the timing down. And it's still early in the season. This is a 17 game schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, with 17 games, 0-2 is not a time to panic. Now, if you're 0-5 or 0-6, then you can panic. But it's not a time to panic.
And another thing too, the leader in your division is 1-1. So you still in it. I mean,
no question.
Somebody's gonna be 1-2 this week, and the Giants just stay focused on winning. They could be 1-2 as well.
Exactly. I think also when I'm looking at this, the NFC East got better. As opposed, by that I'm saying playing non-division games, and we'll get into that a little later, but you see that the NFC East last year couldn't win a non-division game. This year, at least they're given the opportunity of playing hard. I think the Giants are okay. They got to get Saquon. He's got to come back because he's such a big key for them. And they got, like you said, it's a team sport. You can't be yelling at your offensive coordinator or your quarterback, no matter how mad you are, because there's an eye that's always looking at you.
That's why you want players to come to the team. I mean, Galloway coming from Detroit, and they didn't win no game to Detroit. Don't bring that mental mentality to New York. We got to have a winning attitude, and so the coaches and the leaders on that team need to sit down and say, hey, this is kind of what we need to do. We got to create this winning environment. And, you got to play games. You don't play games to lose. And so you got to flip the script real quick. And so those are some of the little things I think they can do and stay focused on them. Yeah,
no question. Now we're going to flip it over to the Cowboys. Cowboys went out to their second home and played a home game out in SoFi Stadium out in L.A., where it seemed like they had more fans than they had for the Chargers. And they played some good things. The only thing that concerns me, first of all, I thought Micah Parsons not playing defensive end since high school did a tremendous job. Their defense, I thought the safeties played well, and for the most part, the corners did. I think their offense is very explosive. Everybody talks about Zeke, and Zeke did some good things, but Tony Pollard was the guy. And then you need two running backs because you need a change of speed because they're different abilities. And I think that helped them. But I thought their defense is getting better, which I expected with Dan Quinn. But like you said, it's only one game. We'll find out this week if they're getting better.
Right. And Dallas have played both games to where they could have easily be 2-0. And so the speed of the linebacker is really great. That's what and that's what you got to stay focused on. You got to stay focused on the strength of your team. And then somehow you got to run those schemes, run those schemes. And Parsons, man, he got some speed.
Yes.
He gonna create problems for the offense. And that's what you want to do. You want to create the timing of the quarterbacks and make sure that you can throw some combination blitzes in there and everything like that. But the main thing what I like about Dallas, they're exciting to watch. They're very entertaining and they're getting better. And the momentum of their secondary is getting good. Those guys are flying around and swapping the balls and things like that. They're challenging the receivers, and that's what you need. So they look good. I mean, this week gonna be a good week for them. They'll be their first home game. So everybody in Dallas is getting excited. They running me off the road, and so they just can't wait to game time. I can tell you that now.
Yeah, Scooter just mentioned that they got to get better on third down, and that is a crucial down. But they're playing hard, and that's the first thing they got to do is play hard. The other things will come, and then like you said, it's a home game. It's going this week is going to be against Philadelphia, which I have to honestly say, Philadelphia is playing better than I ever anticipated. One thing about Philly is they have speed at every position, quarterback, receivers, running back. They are fast. I mean,
and I tell you too, Philadelphia is healthy this year. And so they their defensive line look really, really good. So, you got to put a good game plan together because Philly is a team that a lot of people are saying surprise. And
they have surprised me. The speed surprised me. They did get an injury on the defensive line with Barnett last week, and he won't be available. And that means everybody else has got to step up. But they did surprise me. But can they handle Dallas's offense? That's the question. And can Dallas's defense handle Jalen Hurts? Because he's unique. They talk about the wishbone. He was running wishbone plays in the NFL. He's running and read options and stuff. He's running some college schemes in the NFL, and he has some success with it. He is difficult because you don't account for the quarterback in normal offenses, and now you got to account for Hurst, and they got to know about it. I know how Dan Quinn thinks. He's going to try to hit him. He's going to have somebody right on the quarterback, and then he's going to put somebody on the back. It's probably going to be a safety on that back, and that safety is going to be one-on-one. You have to make a tackle on that back. And this is going to be an interesting game. I'm going to be at that Monday night game.
You going to be at the Monday night? Well, one of the things I want to say this. One of the things about a Texas boy, when they come back home and play the Cowboys, they do get excited. So Jalen is from Houston. So I know he's going to be excited. He's going to have some fans in the stands. And it's just something about coming back to your home state and playing in the National Football League. So I know he's excited. I know he's going to be focused. And so it's going to be a good game. He going to make some things happen. And Dallas going to have to stay in his face. They got to play some good defense. And I know Jalen is going to, when he just played for Oklahoma and Alabama, when they came and played in AT&T Stadium here, he done had some great games. So he know what the environment going to be like. And I can bet you right now, he's excited about coming in and play.
Yeah, no question. When I came home to New York and to play the Giants or the Jets, I was pumped up. First of all, I knew that I was going to get mom's home cooking. That was the big thing. And then, my brothers were there, my sister, and those things. And all my friends would come up to the games. Anytime I played in Philly or New York, it was great to go back home. And you're right. You do get excited about those games because you know that you're going to have your own cheering section at those games.
Absolutely. I had some big games against the Cowboys myself when I came home. Because, the news reporters know you and, you're familiar with the atmosphere and you smell that East Texas barbecue and all that good stuff, so you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Jim.
Yeah, so that's the fun part of it. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be an exciting game. And I think that the Cowboys will edge them out. It's going to be a tight game. I think that on the other hand, the Giants are going to beat Atlanta. And like you said, nobody's out of this race. 1-1 is not going to win the division. 1-1,
Absolutely.
So we got some games. But
last year it was 7-9. That was the marquee number. But this year it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a long season. I just think injuries and mistakes and things like that. The coaching that's the intangible thing that people got to continue to think about. The game plan and things of such like that. Those are the behind the scene thing that need to take place, and you need that momentum getting started. You're gonna have that confidence and making sure that the players get healthy. And what I love about this year, football is in the air and it's good to watch, and so the NFC East is making a stance early on in football, so that's good.
No question. I think they're made improvements, and the NFC East as a whole were not the whipping boys of the NFL anymore. They come back and they've gotten better. They understood the things that needed to be corrected. Now the question is who are you picking between Philly and New York? Dallas. Because we got that
I'm picking the home team because it's gonna be the fans gonna be on top of this game. I think Dallas gonna win 31-24, 30-20. That's what I'm picking.
Now, who are you picking on Washington and Buffalo?
I think Buffalo gonna beat the socks off of Washington. I think Josh Allen gonna turn it out this week. And you know how tough it is to play in Buffalo.
First of all, I think it's going to be a difficult game for the Cowboys, but they'll win. It might come down to the last play against Philly. Okay. And then the next thing is against Washington and Buffalo. I don't think Buffalo's going to blow them out. I think it's going to be a tight game, even in Buffalo. I think that Buffalo still has to find their identity as far as running the ball to be successful. If they become one-dimensional, that's when they get in trouble. And I think
I also think will Washington be a good road team because this is their first road game, so we'll
that's true.
So that's gonna
you
be
make
good.
a good point there.
Yeah.
Plus, they got still really an inexperienced quarterback back there in Heineke, so we'll see. He does. Their offense has been playing pretty well, but we'll see. And Absolutely. He is mobile. So those things are question marks on it. So this is going to be a fun week in the NFC East.
Right.
And there'll be some great games, obviously, all through the NFL. And that's why we're here, to talk shop.
Talking shop, that's great. So, great week. Looking forward to this third week in the NFL.
And you know what that is? It's the victory formation. And you get under there. It's the worst formation for defenses in pro football or any kind of football when they get in that victory formation, unless you're on the winning team, obviously.
Absolutely.
It's tough. It's tough to look at that.
Well, you have a great weekend and enjoy that Monday night game. And I'm just going to enjoy all the games.
Yes, no question. I'm going to enjoy it. Hey, it's great always being here with you.
See you.
All right.